Welcome back, YouTubers. It's us, the British Fist, once again, coming at you with another Q&A, this time number 9. Whoa, I am Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me, who can't wait to answer your questions. He's looking up at the sky. It's NJ.
What's up?
And he's on cloud 9 as well. As you know, I'm Mr. Parkin, like I said before. Make sure you guys subscribe up above as usual, like this video as usual, and comment down below as usual. Keep sending in your questions to the British Fist Facebook at British Fist, facebook.com/British Fist. YouTube inbox us some questions, or if you feel the need and you think it's quicker, comment down below.
And especially send your questions in the links in the group box below.
Right, let's just start this Q&A then, I guess. The first question is from a YouTuber, Chant564. He said,
he asked us, who do you guys think will be the 2 championship matches at Wrestlemania 28? Well, we already know it's Rock. We already know
John Cena's promised that he's going to face The Rock for the WWE Championship.
As for other title matches, I assume now Daniel Bryan has said he might cash it in the Money in the Bank, that he might be involved in a title match. Maybe Orton will be involved in a title match, I guess, because you know he's going to be the champion. Hopefully Miz might be involved in a title match. Hopefully, I hope that Cena and Rock isn't a title match. I do hope they make another title match between like Morrison and Miz or something like that.
Even though John Cena's promised it, I would really like it not to happen and for someone else to be the champ at the time.
Definitely.
Maybe like Alberto Del Rio.
Because he is awesome.
There
but you already know that. So. He also asked us, is it possible for the Money in the Bank winner to wait until Elimination Chamber to cash it in so he can assure himself a spot at the main event at WrestleMania 28? Well, like we said earlier, it looks like Daniel Bryan is intending on doing this, but he's intending on cashing it in at WrestleMania 28, which is a good idea. If you want a main event, if you want to get involved in a title match at WrestleMania, why not do that?
And I think WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all.
Best time to cash it.
For you to cash it and win, it'll be like, wow, fireworks, balloons, and all that
like take a streak, eh?
And all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So great.
I think it's been done before, but I do like the fact they're doing it with Daniel Bryan because it gives him a chance to build him up first before he actually does cash it in, because I think he does need it, and I think it'll be good for him cashing it in at Money in the Bank and maybe getting his big moment at WrestleMania, which I do feel he kind of deserves, being the adept wrestler that he is.
It would be good, but sadly, there's also the case that someone could lose.
True, yeah.
But let's hope it's not Daniel Bryan, because obviously, as much as I'm not really into him that much yet, sadly not, it'll be good to see him live his dream.
Definitely, I do think that too. The next question is from a regular question asker on our Q&As, WWE fan 23p. He asked us a couple of questions. Well, he asked us about 5 questions, as he always does, because he loves asking us questions, this guy does.
Yeah.
The first question he asked us is, who do you think is the best heel of all time? Now, I believe you want to do the sort of modern day wrestlers. I'm going to touch more on the old school wrestlers. So
I'll let you go first.
Oh, I was going to let you go first. Oh well. Personally, in terms of best heels of all time, I do think guys like Randy Savage were brilliant heels at their time. Guys like Ric Flair as well. I do think one of the biggest heels of all time, one of the best heels of all time, in my opinion, were guys like Mr. Perfect, and especially Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, just because he was hated so much and his gimmick suited his heel character so well. And back when he was wrestling, back in the days where guys like Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage were always winning when they were faces, to be a heel in that business was very hard, so I do appreciate the work he had to do to get over as a heel, because it's back then, you never had any title runs as a heel, there was always the baby faces that were getting title runs. So in my opinion, best heel, someone like Ted DiBiase. But I could very easily say Ric Flair.
So if you had to name one person?
Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase. Okay, now I'm going to do more the now time, or
modern day times.
Modern times, that's a good word. Now I'm going to say the person that he changed from face to heel, but he plays the great heel. He's brought other wrestlers up to become heels. I'm going to say Triple H.
Yeah.
He's brought like Batista,
Evolution.
Them. DX. Well, yeah, they played faces and heels, but again, he was just great at bringing people up to be heels just like him.
So Triple H.
So Triple H is mine.
Oh, okay, fair enough. He also asked us, who is your best wrestler of all time? And to me, there's only one. When you say best wrestler of all time, I think the guy that can work with anyone, the guy that can work with various styles, a guy that's had many runs in, he's had 2 runs in WWE, this guy. And his nickname is Mr. WrestleMania, and he's Mr. WrestleMania for a reason. I think the only guy you can really have here is Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
Have you had any particular reasons why you think Shawn Michaels?
Well, again, he's had 5-star matches all over the option. He's been involved in all these great matches. He can work with anyone. He worked backstage with wrestlers as well. He's just an overall great guy, so I'm going to say him all the way.
And what I like about him, he's a company guy. He doesn't mind putting guys over and stuff like that, which is one of the reasons I really respect Shawn Michaels. So in my opinion, best wrestler of all time, Shawn Michaels, has to be. The next question, WWE fan 23P asks us is, will WWE ever use their young talents like Rhodes or McIntyre, or will they always put people like Orton and Cena over? It kind of seems like at the moment they might use Orton and Cena all the time just because, the Vince McMahon or it doesn't really want to take too many risks in the business at the moment and wants his top faces as the champions. I'd really like to see the young stars come through, but it doesn't really look like it's going to happen.
Well, talking about that, with now Vince McMahon pushed to a side, maybe it's going to be time that the new management puts, like the new writers as well, they write and maybe give other wrestlers a chance. As much as John Cena's the biggest draw,
Because we need it, don't we?
I think there's going to be other ones to get lifted now.
I think
That's what I'm thinking.
WWE, with their lack of main event stars at the moment, I do think they need to focus on making younger talents into main event stars, which is why I think they need to push them as soon as possible rather than use guys like Cena and Orton. I'd like to see guys like Cena and Orton used to put over guys, but it seems like they're going to use them as main event champions and stuff. So I don't know. I really like to see them do it, but I don't really see them doing it now that their ratings are very low and they don't really want to take too many risks and they know they've got a sort of guaranteed draw in Cena that way, rather than a younger guy that they have to take a bit of a risk with.
Well, they do have like these various matches that they give try. Like they brought R-Truth up. He's an example. They're going to probably bring John Morrison up. So they are bringing wrestlers up slowly, but not at a fast, noticeable pace.
Yeah. The next question he asked was, how can TNA become a better show and at least try to compete with WWE? He wanted us to list 5 ways, so we have listed 5 ways. Number one thing we would do is get them out the fucking impact zone. Make them go on the road more. This means they can advertise more. They can go to more people, more countries, like even more cities in USA, like WWE do. Just to expand their product and to expand it to different people rather than just the same old people in Orlando, Florida, in the impact zone.
That is very true. And choice 2 would be just like WWE. They have Raw and SmackDown. I think TNA should maybe have their Thursday night show and one other. Yeah.
In my opinion, the roster is very big, and you noticed on TNA Impact shows they don't always use their roster fully. So maybe having 2 shows, they could fully showcase their roster, which I believe they have a good roster. They could either do that or trim the roster, in my opinion, and keep it on 1 show. It might, for financial reasons, it might be better to have 1 show, but in my opinion, 2 shows would really suit their very expanding roster at the moment.
I think it'd be worth the money if they did make a 2nd show.
Yep. Third thing for me is just make less backstage events. I don't mind them. I do think they add to storytelling a little bit and add to the rivalries, but don't have whole segments with 3 backstage segments. Get rid of some of them and just keep the important ones that you really need.
Because the thing is, I've watched some TNAs and there's some segments I'm just thinking, what the hell? This is not even really that needed.
Yeah.
You're just wasting time here. Maybe take them out and expand the matches.
Yeah, definitely. I do think so. They do need to put more match time on the Impact Wrestling matches. I would also bring through your young guys, bring through your actual talent, and make the older guys like Sting, put guys over. I really do think they use older guys too much. Guys like Flair, they don't really need to use them. I think they need to use guys like that to put guys over. It doesn't seem like they're doing that. They're putting Sting as the champion, and it just really makes no sense to me. I don't see why they can't bring up guys like Crimson, AJ Styles, their own kind of talent. It kind of seems like they might be going that way, but at the moment we've got Sting as the champ, so I can't really sort of go against that.
No, they were doing all right, I think, but now they gave Sting the championship back. I just think it's appalling.
Yep. And reason number 5, I think, is the most obvious reason for TNA. Get the X Division back on track. Now, they've done this with Destination X, but the question is, will they continue with it? Because X Division was the thing that made me want to watch TNA. It was the thing that made it stand out when it had 6 sides. So for me, TNA need to make the X Division a lot more prominent in their products, in my opinion, anyway, just so older fans would want to watch it again, and it would make the shows a little bit more entertaining, in my opinion, if they made the X Division feature prominently on TV once again.
X Division is definitely gives you the younger stars a chance to shine and show that they've got good skills. So I think it would be good to get that more involved.
Yep. Now moving on to the wrestling business as a whole. Another question WWE fan 23P asked us was, which do you guys like the most, WWE, TNA, or Ring of Honor in wrestling, entertainment, and promo? And we'll start off with wrestling. In my opinion, ROH, Ring of Honor has by far the best wrestling. Just because their wrestling, the wrestling styles they have are just more entertaining, in my opinion. They use a lot more range of moves. I think it's better wrestling. But I think you might disagree with that.
There's a part of me that wants to say I do disagree, but there's a part of me that wants to agree. I disagree because when you need to think of 5-star matches, I think WWE has those.
Yes.
Yeah, TNA has some of them, but most of what I'm seeing come from WWE. But at the same time, I'm thinking that, yes, wrestling does come in other organisations.
Yeah, like Ring of Honor. I do think it features prominently in Ring of Honor, which is why I say it. In terms of entertainment, I think you have to go with WWE, just because ROH is more a pure wrestling company, and TNA is just a kind of second-rate WWE. So for that, we both really must... I think I'm going to say WWE there for entertainment.
As they've changed the F to an E in their name,
pretty much
makes sense. Yeah.
And as for promos, I think again you have to go with WWE. I think WWE just have the best, even though they're really watered down. So are TNA's, and so are ROH's in some way.
Again,
I think WWE's not the best.
This comes back to the WWE. Their promos have to be changed to a more of a relaxed kind of way. So, but I'm going to still say WWE come up with the best promos.
Definitely. The next question comes from us from Wise of the 303. Awesome. My God, what a name. Complicated, but still a good name. He says to us, "Hey guys, love the show. Thanks for answering our questions. Pleasure. We love answering your questions. I have another one. Who are your 5 worst in-ring performers of all time?" And he thinks Hogan should be first. One guy for me that stands out as a bad in-ring performer is definitely Great Khali. I never liked him as an in-ring performer just because his movement is bad. I know he's a big guy, but even for a big guy, his movement is so slow, and I just can't stand him in the ring.
He played a good heel, but at the same time, I don't really find him that good to watch.
No. What about Hogan?
Hogan does come into our list, yes.
Yes.
And again, the thing I don't like about him is that when he comes into matches, he just likes to be the one to either win or he doesn't really like to put people over that match.
Basically, he does very little. He does as little as he can to win a match, and his wrestling ability isn't exactly great. It's his drawing ability which made him such an icon in the wrestling company. And the next guy we have on air is John Cena. I think this kind of speaks for itself, really. John Cena in the ring, although he proved against CM Punk that he was a decent wrestler, his in-ring ability isn't great, in my opinion, compared to a lot of other guys. And the fact that he's a top guy in WWE kind of really emphasises that fact, in my opinion. It's more about the draw than the wrestling ability, which is kind of a shame, really. I do think he's not the best in the ring.
John Cena just purely sucks. There we go.
Yeah, sorted.
Randy Keith.
Purely because he's very, very stiff in the ring. Very boring as well.
But
he was great. I'd say he's a lot better when he was a heel. Yeah, he's changed his face. He's just slidey, nothing fancy about him. And Orton is the kind of guy that needs a guy in the match to make him work. Like Christian, for example, needs a guy to make him work in order to have a good match. So for that reason, I think his in-ring ability.
And most of his great matches were when he was a heel. Again, it all comes back to a heel. So I'm saying it's as a base, that's where all his problems are.
Yeah. Next guy for me is Eugene. Enough said, really. I don't really have too much to say about Eugene. I just hated him.
And if you've seen our SummerSlam reviews, give that a little bit of a plug there, you'll see how bad we think of Eugene.
Yeah, and I think an honourable mention should definitely go to Ultimate Warrior here as well, just because, again, like Hogan, he just never sold anything, and he was more of a draw than a wrestler, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think that really much sums that one up.
Pretty much.
And the last set of questions that we will go on to is from the Jackson916. He asks us, do you think one of the winners of the Money in the Bank ladder match will cash in and lose? Personally, I don't.
Again, I'm not sure when you talk about. If you talk about now I'm looking at it. Del Rio, please no way, man.
Yeah.
And when we look at Daniel Bryan, I would like to say yes, but I think with him being someone new, a new face, I think they wouldn't do it to him.
No, I think when you have new guys, this is the whole point of Money in the Bank, to get new guys into the main event and get them that title, whether it's a heel or a face. If they have someone lose, it will just totally devalue the point of Money in the Bank, which is to establish new stars, which is why I think if they're going to make anyone lose, it would be a guy that's already been a champion or something like that. I honestly thought they were going to do it to Miz last year, but thank God they didn't.
No, so I think these two Money in the Bank winners are going to go on and cash it in and win.
Hopefully. I do hope no Money in the Bank winners lose, because that would just be stupid in my opinion. Might happen soon though, who knows with the WWE's booking. Next question he asked us was, on Raw, who do you see as the person who is most likely to win the title from Cena? Only one person here. What is his name, NJ?
CM Punk.
Of course. I would personally say Alberto Del Rio. But that's just my opinion. This was obviously a question before CM Punk won the championship, so you cheated a little bit there.
A little bit, but at the same time, CM Punk's been a favourite of mine for a while, and when he got out of the main event picture, I thought, poor CM Punk, he could have become a good champion. But yes, Alberto Del Rio.
Alberto Del Rio mainly just because I think he'll be the new #1 heel on Raw. Especially now he's got the Money in the Bank, which is one of the reasons I thought he might get the title off Cena at some point. But, you know, I think he'll be a future champion anyway, so that's fine there.
Yeah.
Next question. Who will win a world title first? Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler, Wade Barrett, or Daniel Bryan? The Jackson says that his pick is either Dolph or Barrett. Who do you think?
They're kind of good picks. But let's go through your list.
Kofi. No.
I think he hasn't got the look about him, and I just don't feel him as a champion.
And he's been buried by Orton as well, so that kind of gets you out of the main event, really, doesn't it?
Dolph, I think he's floating around in the US, so I think he needs to build himself up to a future champion.
Definitely a future champion. In my
Wade
opinion.
Barrett, again, when he moved on to SmackDown, he just went downhill too rapidly, but I think he is a future
He's the biggest, out of these four, he's the biggest future potential main eventer, in my opinion.
But Daniel Bryan is Money in the Bank, so I think he is a possible World Heavyweight Champion.
Just because he's got the Money in the Bank, and if he catches it in when he says he will at WrestleMania, none of those other three are going to get a title before then, so probably Daniel Bryan, who will win the world title.
That is your question, yes.
Yeah, that will answer the question. The next question is a very interesting one, in my opinion. Who would you like to see Orton feud with after Christian? Now, of course, Christian is the champion now, but if Orton retained, let's say Orton retained at Money in the Bank and finished his feud with Christian, who would we want to see him feud with afterwards? Wade Barrett?
Wade Barrett would be one,
Or Sheamus?
because he's still a flipping face, so I'm going to say Wade Barrett, just because I think that match could be something to watch out for.
I do also think that match could be something to watch out for, in my opinion. I wouldn't mind Sheamus in there either. I mean, Sheamus versus Orton has been done before, but again,
if they're making Sheamus a face, then it could be face versus face, so it might not be that entertaining.
So Wade Barrett.
Yeah, Wade Barrett.
Definitely Wade Barrett. That's another Q&A done, NJ.
It is.
17.5 minutes of us answering questions. We hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you put your comments down below. Maybe you have some thoughts on the questions, or you have certain answers. And make sure to keep sending in your questions via YouTube inbox, via commenting down below if you want to get it done quickly, or for our Facebook, which is facebook.com/British Fist.
Again, we thank you very much for all your questions. Keep more coming so we can continue doing this. And what we'll say is we'll do another Q&A soon.
Thank you very much for watching, guys, and from the British Fist, me and NJ, goodbye.